What's up, everybody? So July 8th, 2014. That date is significant for me because it was my first video that I ever posted on YouTube. So it is today, July 1st, 2019, and a couple of days away from doing 5 years on YouTube. And I thought it would be interesting as sort of a retrospective to talk about since I've been on YouTube, what are the top 10 best purchases I've made? And then, of course, I've been all about just laying it all out and talk about the top 10 worst purchases I've made since I've been on YouTube. Spoiler alert, it's not any of these 5 Griffey cards, but it has been an interesting 5 years. From my perspective, I know there's a lot of things going on with PWCC and PSA, which I'm sure everyone's aware of at this point. But the baseball card market has done very, very well. And it was actually difficult finding 10 cards that were really bad purchases in terms of investment. So without further ado, let me go ahead and get started. Hopefully this is interesting for everyone. I want to start off with an honorable mention on the good purchase side. So this is a card that I bought, and you're probably wondering, why would a Wade Boggs 83 Tops and a PSA 9 get on the best purchases list? Well, this card right now goes for about $55, $56 on eBay. And I purchased this in a bargain bin. There was you get 3 cards for $10. Or you could buy them for $5 a piece. I think I got these 3 for $10. So if you look at that, this is over 1,000% increase from the day that I bought it. And you know, it's just a reminder that there can be some really awesome items in the bargain bin. And this one was in really nice condition. It wasn't graded at the time. I sent it in, got it graded, came out as a PSA 9, which is really nice. So that is my first honorable mention. And I'm going to kind of go back and forth between great purchases and bad purchases. So at number 10, and like I said, guys, I struggled with finding cards that were on the bad purchase side. So I got this at a show. I believe I paid around $40 for this, maybe $50. I can't really, it's one of those things I can't look back at receipts or anything because I bought it at a show. Now, it's probably worth, I don't know, maybe $30 or something like that. So, I probably overpaid for it. It is in a PSA 6, but this is one of those cards, again, that it's a really beautiful card. So if I overpaid for it, so be it. At number 10, in terms of really good purchases, and I think I did a vote. I forget if it was 2018 or 2017 of if everyone could kind of list what they thought was their favorite purchase that I made of, I think it was 2017 or 2018, and this was number 1. So I paid $1,050 for this card. I've seen this card go for as much as $2,200 on eBay, which would it be a $1,150 profit and 109% increase in percentage. So I would say this was a really good purchase, and it's one of those cards that's only going to go up in value over time. All right, on the other side of that, and again, I feel odd kind of putting this on the not great purchases side, but at number 9, I have this Clemente that, and I've talked about this on my, when I bought it, I knew that I overpaid for it. I was okay with overpaying for it. I paid $1,558 for it. I've seen Clemente rookies in a 3.5 go for as high as $1,250. So that would be a $300 loss or a 20% decrease from what I bought it from. But in my opinion, and this is why I bought it, is it's a lot nicer than most 3.5s out there. Got great color, great centering. So I did overpay for it, but I was okay with overpaying for it because I really wanted to get a nice looking Clemente rookie. All right, back on the other side now. This is just an example of a card cards that I did really well on at a show. So more so with this mantle. So I ended up buying both of these cards together. And sometimes if you go to a show, you can get some really good deals. Like if you say, hey, you know what, instead of just buying one card, I'll buy two cards off of you. So I bought these cards for $200. So basically $100 a piece. They were raw at the time, so this one came back as a PSA 6. The mantle came back as a PSA 4. And if you're looking at, like, let's say I bought this mantle for $100, this goes for, in a PSA 4, goes for as high as $279, which is a $179 gain and a 179% increase on what I purchased at. And I remember I bought this at the White Plains show in New York. So two really awesome cards from the 1960 Topps set. All right, on the other side, yeah, this is one of those cards that, you know, I probably overpaid for. At number 8, so I paid $149 for this card, and now goes for, in a PSA 10, about $100. So lost $49, and that is a 33% loss on this particular card. And I also, you know, got it graded. So this was one of those cards I knew that if I got it graded, it would come back, or I had a pretty good feeling it would come back as a PSA 10. I bought 2 of these, gave one of them away, and you know, this is one of those cards. You know, Ohtani had a pretty awesome first year, won the Rookie of the Year, but then of course had been taking the year off, you know, with, I forget what the injury was, but he's not pitching this year, but he is DHing this year. But obviously that's taken away from the luster of this particular card. So it still goes for around $100, but it's not as hot as it was when I bought it. There's another example of not buying a card when it's at its peak. On the other side, and this is a card that, you know, maybe back in the summer of last year, it would have been close to number 1. I literally bought this card for $50. Back before anyone had ever even heard of Miguel Andujar, I bought this card, and you can see here it is numbered to 150, 40 of 150. Bought this for $50. He was just a prospect in the minors. And then, of course, last year was second in the Rookie of the Year voting. Should have won the Rookie of the Year. I'd say now, you know, I'd be lucky to get maybe 200, 225 for it. But even then, that is a 300% increase from what I bought it at for $50 back when he was in the minor leagues and nobody had ever heard of him. All right, at number 7, I have Kris Bryant, 2014 Bowman Chrome. I bought this guy back in, I don't know if you guys remember spring training when he was on fire, just hitting home runs like crazy. I loved Kris Bryant's swing. I love Kris Bryant's swing, and I love Cody Bellinger's swing. There's something about their swing that I was like, man, I got to pick up this card. I definitely overpaid for it. I paid $4.99 at the time. It was already graded as a PSA 10. Right now, it goes for as high as about $360, which is a $139 loss, or a 28% loss. So still, you know, an okay purchase. He went on to win Rookie of the Year that year. I believe he won an MVP. He won a World Series for the Cubs. So even though I was right about Kris Bryant, this card has gone down in value for whatever reason. All right, at number 7 on the good purchase side. Now it's funny because now I'm bringing back Ohtani, but this time on the good side. I bought this card. So I bought the refractor when he was one of the hot prospects that was just about to play in the major leagues. Whereas this card, I bought this card before anyone had ever heard of him, and this is his Japanese BBM card. I bought this card for $15 raw, had it shipped from Japan, which I thought was kind of cool, just watching. I watched the tracking go from Japan to here in New Jersey. But bought this for $15. I've seen this card go as high as $80 in a PSA 10, which is a 454% increase. So I did well on that. At number 6, and I've talked a lot about this card, bought this at a show. This is the 60 Tops Clemente. I don't have a receipt for it because I bought it at a show. I believe that I paid around $300 for this card. Because it has been, I forget if it was trimmed, but for whatever reason, PSA refused to grade it. Didn't meet, I think it was minimum size requirements or something like that. But something like that, a card like that, this card would probably go for about $190, $200 at best. So because it's been trimmed or altered in some way, I'd say that that's a 36% decrease, about $100 loss on that card. And of course, that's the risk that you take when you buy cards raw. All right, back on the good purchase side. Now, if you want a card that is just solid, the Rock of Gibraltar, buy a Michael Jordan rookie card. I mean, I bought this card. Again, I feel like I actually overpaid for it because in a PSA 6, this was perfectly centered. Well, not perfect, but really nicely centered, both left to right and top to bottom. And I thought looked a lot better than a PSA 6, so I overpaid for this at the time. Paid $650. Right now I've seen PSA 6 Michael Jordan rookies go for as high as $1,675. That is a $1,000 increase, or a 157% increase. So if you just want a card that you know will be just a great, solid investment, buy the 86 Fleer Jordan. This is an iconic card. Whether you're a baseball collector or a basketball collector, it's kind of a must-own card. And one of those cards that just always goes up in value. It's gone up every year that I've looked at it. So great card to have. All right, now getting into my top 5 best and top 5 worst purchases over my 5-year career here on YouTube. And I picked this card up. It is a Phil Rizzuto. Picked this up for $50. And it might have even been more. Again, I picked this up at a show, and I don't know if you guys will be able to pick it up here, but I ended up getting it graded, and it came back as a PSA 3.5. And I was bitterly disappointed, only to find out after I cracked it out of the case and I looked at it a little closely that it actually has some surface issues here. So I might not be able to pick it up here in the video. But, I'd say this is maybe a $30 card at this point. So, obviously not a great purchase, maybe a $20 loss on there. However, on the good purchase side, and this is a card that I've been talking about a lot, just because I recently picked this card up. I couldn't believe it. I look back, I paid $515 for this Mattingly 84 Don Mattingly in a PSA 10. Not even I think maybe a year ago. I've seen this card in a PSA 10 go for as high as $1,600. That is a $1,000 gain, a 210% increase in a year. These 80s cards are going insane. I think it's that Beckett top 80 cards of the 80s really had a lot to do with it. Who knows? Maybe people like myself are getting back into the hobby and want the greatest cards from the 80s. But to see that type of an increase over a 1-year period for a card from 84, for a guy that's been retired for a very long time on managing a very bad Marlins team, just really kind of blows me away. So fantastic purchase on the good purchase side. All right, down to number 4. This is an example. This is the mistake that a lot of collectors make, and I made it. When Stanton was signed to the Yankees, I immediately went on eBay and I was like, I got to pick up Stanton's rookie auto. And I landed on this X-Fractor, which I purchased for $700. He had just signed with the Yankees, and I literally was trying to pick this up as quickly as possible. And you can see here, it is numbered on the back to 225, number 6 of 225. I bought this card raw. Came back as an 8, which was really disappointing. I'd be lucky to get this for, sell this for as high as $350, which would be a 50% decrease in value, which it is what it is. I clearly overpaid for it, but I really wanted to get my hands on the Stanton X-Fractor as soon as he signed with the Yankees, and clearly overpaid for it. At number 4, kind of the guy right next to him, Stanton and Aaron Judge. I don't know why I said right next to him, but maybe they bat in order sometimes. But pick this card up. Watch Judge hit 2 mammoth home runs at a Yankees-Orioles game, and went home, picked this card up. It was back when Judge was still kind of this rookie that was still somewhat unknown, but was starting to pick up steam. So I ended up picking this card up for $300. And I remember, if I look back at my video, I actually say I feel like I overpaid for it, but I don't care. I've seen this card. I got it graded. It came back as a PSA 10. I've seen this card. I don't know if it's worth this much, but I've seen this card go for as high as $2,000 on eBay in a PSA 10, which is a $1,700 profit, a 566% increase. And just a beautiful card. And by the way, I just want to throw this out there. I am not interested in selling any of these cards. I just find all of this to be interesting. Hopefully you guys do too. I know a lot of people don't like when you talk about cards as an investment. I have no interest in selling these cards, so don't bother offering me any offers. But I just find the increase and decrease of cards to be interesting, and I don't relate to anybody who doesn't. So at number 3, in terms of on the bad side, I bought this Jorge Mateo back when he was the #1 prospect for the Yankees. This one I bought for $155 raw. It came back as a PSA 10, which was really cool. But obviously he was traded to the, I believe it was the Oakland Athletics as part of that Sonny Gray trade, which really didn't work out for either team. And, now I honestly, I'd be lucky if I get $100 for this card. I have no idea what it would be worth. Sometimes these Bowman Chrome autos in a PSA 10 will still go for a lot of money. So I'll say $100, which would be a 35% decrease. But obviously Mateo's career has not in any way, shape, or form lived up to expectations. But of course, there's always still time. At number 3 on the good side is this Ty Cobb. Now, this card has gone absolutely bananas. I remember I bought this a while back. Bought this for $675. This card now, believe it or not, even in a 1.5, I've seen this card go as high as $2,200, which would be a $1,500 gain, a 225% increase. So to pick this up for $675 now, you could see this card look like it's not in great condition, but with a little bit of distance, which is why I bought the card. It is a beautiful looking card to have as a centerpiece in a display case, and this card really has gone absolutely bananas since I bought it, and really is one of the most iconic cards in the hobby, and that's probably why. All right, we're at number 2. Number 2 on the bad purchase list. Got to put my boy Rob Refsnyder, and I literally bought this card after he had hit a home run in Boston, and I was, thinking that the Yankees are looking for the next big thing, and picked this card up in a PSA 10. Rob Refsnyder for $80. Now, I'd be lucky to get maybe $20 for this card, I think. Which is a 75% decrease. But yeah, I don't even know if he's even playing baseball anymore. But this is number to 150. He was traded to the Rays. Played almost every day. I think last year it was just doing unbelievably bad. And at this point may have just given up on playing baseball. We'll see if he'll ever return. But bought this for $80 and clearly overpaid for that card. At number 2, and you could argue that this is the best purchase I've ever made, bought this Hank Aaron rookie, which is in a PSA 4, which I could see going for even better than that. PSA 4 for $750. I've seen PSA 4s that look as good as this sell for $2,300, which is a $1,500 gain, a 207% increase. It's hard to beat a Hank Aaron rookie. You know this card's only going to go up in value over time. So to get this and this, I bought this at a baseball card store. There's a whole story behind it if you guys have any interest. There's an old video that I did about, going back and forth, kind of walking away from this card and then coming back and buying it for even more than what I wanted to get it for. But clearly a fantastic investment. At number one, my number one card in terms of bad purchases, and here it is, Greg Bird. I bought this, was it last year? Yeah, the beginning of last year, Greg Bird, I don't know if you guys remember, was having a crazy spring training. It looked like he was going to be the first baseman for the Yankees. And I ended up spending $400 for this Greg Bird card, and numbered 50 of 50, which I thought was kind of cool. But yeah, obviously way overpaid for this card. Again, I'll probably get it graded, to be honest with you, just to, as part of that 100-card submission. It looks really nice, but at this point, I don't know what are they going to, with the Yankees. The best thing I think that could happen to Greg Bird would be for him to get traded at this point and just start all over and somehow figure it out. Maybe he's just, one of those guys that just can't make it in as a Yankee, but really, really bad purchase on my part. And number one, and this was kind of an easy decision, I think, was this card. And the beauty of this Mike Trout 2011 Topps Update is it wasn't that long ago that I picked this card up. I bought this, I believe it was December of 2017, so about a year and a half ago. Paid $922.50 for this card. I've seen this card go as high as $3,500 in a PSA 10. It feels like anything Mike Trout just goes absolutely bananas. And this card, because the Bowman Chrome auto has gone, it's gotten to the point where nobody can, it's out of certain people's, budget. So a lot of people have gravitated to the 2011 Topps Update. And to have it go from $900 to a $3,500 card, which is a $2,577 gain, a 279% increase, makes it number one on my list. So there you have it, guys. Hopefully this video was interesting at the very least. 5 years on YouTube, and it has been a blast, and really appreciate you guys watching my content, coming along for the ride with me, and you guys know there is more content to come. So thank you everybody for watching. I will talk to you later. Peace.